Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking about some of the consequences to the recent Viacom and CBS merger. Now, this is an interesting thing. It's not as big as the Disney Fox merger, at least in terms of film aspects, but there's a lot of television stuff that could be affected by this, most notably Star Trek. Now, for those people that have listened to the channel for a while, you would know I am a very big Star Trek original series fan. I like TNG, but it's not really my thing. And then kind of a lot of the other stuff after that was kind of just meh. And I'm also a huge fan of the movies, including Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which is my favorite film of all time. Now, the recent films I have been very critical of, more specifically Star Trek Into Darkness. But this merger does affect the Star Trek franchise in a very significant way. Now, going towards the idea, it's kind of similar to now that Marvel has all the characters under one roof. It's kind of the same idea because what happened is the television rights to Star Trek and the film rights to Star Trek were split between two different entities. Viacom had the film rights and CBS had the television rights. Now, because these two entities had separate control over various aspects of the Star Trek franchise, it meant that characters or actors from the films could not cross over into the TV shows and vice versa. So you had a situation where they had Star Trek Discovery, and they were going to put in Spock, but they couldn't use Zachary Quinto because he was part of the film aspect of it, and that character in the films was copywritten. It was the kind of the same idea where they couldn't use the same Enterprise or the same timeline, that kind of thing. Now, to make it fair, though, that probably wouldn't have helped the show, but it would have had a little bit more of continuity with that film universe that they have. So moving forward, this could be interesting because there are still a few Star Trek projects that are in development, both in film and on television. Star Trek Picard is supposed to be the first series or Star Trek property that's going to be under this combined roof. You also have Star Trek 4, the fourth film in the Abrams Calvin timeline, whatever the hell you want to call it. That had one good film and two kind of crappy films. And now you also have the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek film that is being written and that he is may or may not direct. That's still up in the air. But this is interesting from an aspect of now you can have more of the crossover, and now you can cross over the television and the film again. So now that all of the other thing is that the film designs and all that stuff, they couldn't be used in the television show, so you had to redesign stuff. So now that you have both of those things together, you can make the film stuff look like the television stuff, and you can make the television stuff look like the film stuff, and you can have more continuity going back and forth. And that's really basically almost all that it does, in addition to the idea that you can kind of swap out characters and various things and use actors on both mediums. But it is also interesting to note that this does beef up CBS's streaming service, CBS All Access, quite a bit. Now, based on the merger, the numbers that we've seen are that they will boast a library of over 3,600 films and over 140,000 episodes of television shows. Now that is a very large library to go by. I don't know if that dwarfs Netflix. I would assume maybe it does now that they've lost The Office and some other long-running television shows. The only other unfortunate thing is I would assume that this means that Netflix will also lose Star Trek, which is kind of one of the only reasons why I still have it. But it is interesting to note that, and the thing is, it also does boost them up because they are going to be competing with Disney Plus, with Netflix, with Hulu, more than what they are now, and Amazon Prime Video and stuff like that too. So it's going to be interesting to see moving forward. But the Star Trek Picard series is kind of going to be that first stepping stone for them to see if maybe they can do something good because Discovery was a god-awful failure. Discovery should be forgotten. It should not be renewed. for any more seasons. You should just leave that in the dust because it was a piece of shit. It was written horribly. Apparently, it was also plagiarized, which is very funny to me. But there's not a lot going on there, and a lot of fans did not really like it. Now you're bringing back an older Patrick Stewart. You're bringing back some of these other characters, like Jonathan Frakes, and as William Riker, and Gordy, and like a bunch of all these, or Geordie, I should say, not Gordy. And you're bringing back all these characters from TNG to do another series, and it might be good, it might not be good. We've seen a trailer for it. I wasn't really that overly impressed by the trailer for it. Again, TNG is not really my thing. I'm more of an original series person, but most of those actors are either incredibly old or dead, and the recast actors are now being put in shitty films. So I'm not really too keen on most of the Star Trek stuff going forward today. But it is an interesting thing to note for people that are a fan of the franchise, and people that are a fan, or people that have CBS All Access, some things that you could be looking forward to maybe if you want to continue to watch these programs, or if you've enjoyed some of them so far. But it's just a little interesting thing, and I'm sure there's going to be other repercussions for the Viacom CBS merger. I'm just going over this specific point more or less, but I want to know what you think. Do you think that it's good that kind of Star Trek is under one roof again? Do you think that this is something that might be able to help bolster the series and bring it back from kind of the grave they've kind of buried it in? Or do you think that, like me, that this is just going to be okay, now it's just going to suck all around as opposed to sucking separately? Put your thoughts in the comments. Again, I like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?